get to know the man behind some music that you might hear around East Texas, or you might have been to maybe one of the shows. Who knows? Weston Jennings is an accomplished organist, conductor, and harp. I don't even know how to say that name.
Harpsichordist.
Oh my gosh, thank you. He's right here with me, guys. And we get to kind of talk to him a little bit more about his life, how it came to be, and his journey into music. And it wasn't always about the organ, per se. You first picked up the piano at 5 years old. Wasn't until you were 16 that you discovered the pipe organ at summer camp in Michigan. That moment eventually taking him through an entire journey of music school to Yale to England, where you served as an organ scholar at many places. So we get to know you a little bit. Let's start at the beginning, though.
Sure.
Who was Weston Jennings, and what were you like growing up?
Oh, wow. What
know,
a
right?
question. I'm still kind of shy. I think I was a shy child as well.
Okay.
And my parents said that I went up to the piano and started hitting it, and that was their cue that I wanted to play. And they decided to put me in lessons as a 5-year-old, 4 or 5.
Oh my gosh.
And I still have some memories of it because my first piano teacher was very strict.
Mm-hmm.
And both my sister and I would go, and it was always tough to see what she would say, because usually it wasn't very
I
good.
hear ya.
But luckily, I got a nicer piano teacher that lived up
Okay.
the street.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, here's something I think a lot of people will find interesting. You didn't just grow up playing the pipe organ. You actually discovered it when you were 16 at
Exactly.
a camp, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that I always tell people when they're interested in the pipe organ is that first of all, if you're a kid, it's not going to work because they're pedals. Your legs aren't long enough. So you have to be able to play the piano, and the better you can play the piano, the better you'll be able to take on the organ, because there's so many different things that pianists don't have to worry about. And I didn't know any of this. I remember when I was 12, there was a local teacher, music teacher,
Okay.
who said, if you ever get the chance, play the pipe organ. And I thought she was out of her mind as a 12-year-old. I just thought, what is she talking about? I don't know. I didn't grow up in a church that had an organ.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what she was talking about. I knew the instrument, but I'd never really experienced one. And later on, I had this chance. I was at Interlochen Arts Camp in Michigan, and somebody called me and said, it was a camp counselor. They said, you're not taking enough classes. We don't want you just sort of twiddling your thumbs for an extra hour a day. So you could choose from composition, theory, or organ.
Yeah.
And I know that I knew I didn't want to do composition, and I'd had a lot of theory already, and that sounded terribly boring. So I said, I'll take pipe organ. And
Sounds really complicated,
and
honestly.
I said,
What a
what do I
decision-making
need?
process,
It was great.
right?
It was great. And it turns out totally changed my life. It was so funny. I remember saying, well, what do I need? How do I prepare for this? She said, well, you need these special shoes. I was very intrigued by all this. And I said, okay, great. But apparently they have a shoe bank. So I just went for it kind of blindly. And it turns out it's a really cool instrument. And it was sort of complicated in all the right ways, and played on my strengths from piano playing, and sort of put my weaknesses of piano playing to the side.
So my question is like, even if you put those to the side, what made you decide, like, okay, this is what I want to do, right?
One of the things about the organ that is so cool is that you get to choose all these different colors, and we call them stops. So if we know the phrase, pull out all the stops, that just means that the organ's playing really loudly. And each one is different. It's a lot like a chef with ingredients and the way that you mix them. And composers don't really say, some of them do, but some of them don't. And so a lot of it's left up to the actual organists themselves.
Okay.
And that's really fun. And also the other thing is that back in the Industrial Revolution, the piano was pretty well standardized. So we know the piano has about 88 keys. It has 3 pedals. They all about do the same thing. They're in the same order. We know that a concert grand piano is about 9 feet. We know the big players in the space, obviously Steinway, Yamaha, Kawai, we know those. The organ is still not standardized at all, which is so cool, because if I go to it could be anywhere. If I go to Italy and play, or France, or Detroit, or Florida, or here in Texas.
Let's talk about those cool places. Let's start in England, actually, because you visited just some, not only just beautiful, but pretty incredible places.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
So
You're like, where do I start?
yeah, where do I begin? I lived in England for 2 years, and I was in residence for the first year at Canterbury Cathedral.
Okay.
and that is what they call the Mother Church of the Anglican Communion, and the American equivalent of that is the Episcopal Church that we have right down here, Christ Church down the street. And what I would do is I was on a team of organists, and so there were three, and I was the youngest and the most junior, and I was also the only American, and we would share all the services. There were many, many services during the week. To give you an example, for Easter Day, there were 4 services, 4 or 5.
Yeah, there are
And
lots
Christmas,
of them on Easter Day.
Christmas, yeah, there's a ton. And so you need more than one organist. You also need somebody to direct the choir.
Yeah.
And the choir was men and boys.
Yeah.
And at that time, the boys ages 6 to until their voice breaks, they resided on what they call in the precincts. They lived in a house, choir house, just behind the cathedral, and we would constantly rehearse for all of the services. So you're always working. They don't look too far ahead because they're so good. So they just go, okay, here's what we're doing tomorrow. Let's look at it today, and we're ready.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
sort of their culture in
right.
Britain.
Well, since you've been to some extraordinary places and you have so many stories to tell, what is a performance or multiple, whatever you want to share, that still kind of gives you chills to this day when you travel?
There are quite a few.
I know. I love
and
that. By that response, I'm
if
like,
any one
oh.
of them are listening, I don't want them to feel left out. But there's some pretty amazing places. I think of Westminster Abbey in London when I played there back in 2015. It's really interesting. They lock you in the space. A lot of these places, they lock you in the space and they watch you like a hawk. That one especially, security is very tight. St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Stanford University is a really cool place to play because there are actually 4 or 5 different instruments in one chapel. And so many other places. Just recently, about this time last year, I took a sabbatical and I was in France. And I had the chance of playing 3 landmark instruments, all from the late 1800s. And it doesn't really get much better than that.
That's amazing. Okay, well, I know you probably learned so much, not only just about music, but about yourself when you were traveling. What's something that you learned personally, besides music, when you were in England?
Ooh, when I was in England, although we sort of speak the same language, just the daily rhythm of life is very different. What I love about England and Europe is you don't need a car. I didn't have a car. I occasionally drove other people's cars, but that was not usually very exciting. Well, it was actually very exciting, but not exciting for them because I was driving on the wrong side of the road, and I'm also not very good at driving a manual, and almost all their cars are manual. It's very hard to find an automatic. These days it's a little better, but that was fun. I just love that the trains, you can wake up one morning, you decide, oh, I want to go to Scotland today. 6-7 hours later, there you are. You're in Scotland, living your best life.
That's awesome.
So
That's
it's
really
the same
cool.
way
Very
in
just different.
the Netherlands and Germany. So it's
All right.
it's very exciting.
Now, opportunities back home. I mean, the road always leads to home, is what a lot of people say. And the road led you back here to Tyler. So let's talk about the opportunities that brought you back here.
I returned to Texas in August of 2017
Okay.
for a very important job that I'm very grateful to have, and that's director of music and organist at First Presbyterian Church, a little south of here. And I say return to Texas because I previously lived in Texas many, many years ago. I was born in Grand Prairie, and my family moved to Virginia when I was about four years old.
Yeah.
So sometimes if it suits me, I will play that Texas native card.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. Well, since you've been here since 2017, what has made Tyler feel like home to you?
There are so many things about Tyler. I love the fact that it has a lot of the things that we would look for in a big city, but it maybe doesn't have some of the negative sides.
I gotcha.
When you sort of drive around Dallas, sometimes it's like, wait, how many loops do we have? And
there are a lot of loops.
and so much going on. But I love that there's so much culturally and artistically going on here in East Texas, and I also love, you probably also saw that I love to garden. And if you, I don't want to
We were about to
go
get
into
into
the,
that.
I don't want to go into the garden nerd mode yet. But if you compare the soil of Dallas or Fort Worth, oh dear, and then with East Texas is so much better for growing
Yeah.
nice plants. A lot of people, when I tell them that I live in Texas, they think that it's tumbleweed and dust, and they're thinking of a different part of Texas.
Yeah.
And I tell them, no, we have lakes, we have grass, we have pine trees, we have plants that can grow and water that they can have.
Oh yeah, exactly. But getting into the weeds, literally into the weeds. See, isn't that funny? I like how I did that. We learned a lot about the music in your career, not even just in this interview, but we've had you on multiple times before to talk about that. But this show tonight is more about getting to know you behind the job and see what you like to do. So when you're off the clock, what is something that you just do on a normal day-to-day basis?
A couple of things. If the weather is nice, which right now it's not, I love to go out in the yard and garden, and I have a pretty interesting sort of policy with my plants. I put them there, I give them the best that I can, and then it's brutal here. So if something dies, it dies, and it's very sad.
It's
But
all right. Mine have all burned alive.
But I love everything that if it's okay to live here, mainly a lot of native plants, they can take the neglect. They can handle what East Texas offers.
The 100 degrees though, so you better baby those things.
True.
Like
I
they're
am
your
I am
kids.
babying a few.
Okay.
But
Nurse them back to health if they're really struggling.
I'm trying.
Or else they're gonna leave you.
I just noticed the other day there is this really precious plant that I just put in the spring. And I walked, it was doing fine a month ago. I walked over there. That thing is toast. So I poured some water on it. We'll see what happens. But I think it's a goner. That's kind of how my lawn and yard works. But aside from that, I also, again, when the weather's nice, I like to be outside, and I read a lot. In the last few years, I've gotten into classic fiction. So right now I'm still working through The Count of Monte Cristo. And which just, I'm like, wait, how many pages are in this? What is it? 1,000, 1,100, 1,200? But it's great. And I love it that there are short chapters. A lot of the Russian writers with 9 million characters, and they all have 3 different names, I can't handle it. I have to write down.
I hear you.
So, and I just finished Grapes of Wrath by Steinbeck, which it was brilliant.
That's awesome.
And so
Okay.
I just try to focus
Well,
on
let's
those.
talk about music. What kind of music do you listen to? And it can't be classical.
Okay. Well, honestly,
He's like, wait a minute.
I deal with so much classical music for my work that it is not always what I want to listen to when I'm not working.
Okay.
So I enjoy a lot of 80s music, like
Okay.
80s pop. I'm all about 80s pop.
All right.
And
Yeah, no, gotcha.
also, this is totally out of left field. I also really like bluegrass music.
Okay.
So there's a program that's on the radio, Mountain Stage. It's on NPR. It's
Interesting.
filmed or recorded in Charleston, West Virginia, where I have some family, and it is so different from anything that I work with or listen
Different
to
is
normally,
good.
and I just love it.
That's awesome.
Especially when it's this bluegrass that, like, my great uncle would listen to.
Yeah.
It's
I hear
very
ya.
interesting.
Okay, so are you more a stay-at-home person or let's go do something person?
Probably stay at home.
Okay.
If I'm traveling, I do love to travel, but there does come a point when you are ready to go back home.
Relax. Yeah.
Yeah, to go back home.
I hear you. What's something about you that people who would only know you would know?
Oh,
See, you got to think about this one.
that is kind of tough.
All right, let's do
They
fun
would
fact.
they would probably ask me about my dog Wendy. She's
Okay.
adorable. She's sleeping at home right now, guaranteed.
What kind of dog?
She's a shepherd mix,
Oh my gosh.
medium size,
Okay.
and she's wonderful.
How old?
She's about 8 years old.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's a rescue.
Protector or sleeper?
I don't know about protector. She does. She will offer a bark if she hears the
She'll offer
doorbell.
one.
Yeah, she might throw
She'll
a couple
ask
barks
if she
out.
can. Okay. All right. Well, finally, if you weren't a musician, conductor, or organist, what do you think you'd be doing?
if I
Not
weren't
gardening.
a musician or conductor, I like really complicated things, as
Okay.
you might imagine, because I'm an organist. So I would probably go into something legal or financial,
Okay.
which I think would be really fun. Strangely enough, okay, hold on. I do enjoy filling out my taxes. Now I will put it off. Like I
Why?
always file an extension. The IRS knows, oh, Weston's filed another extension. But when I actually sit down to do it, I love the intricacy. It's like a little puzzle, and you've got to put everything together. And I think I make the IRS angry because I still fill it all out by hand.
Are y'all hearing this? You just told me you like doing taxes.
I do. When I get to it.
Okay.
But that's the same feeling as like
I
practicing.
think he's the only person that I know that likes to fill out their taxes.
See, I don't necessarily like to practice either. Like I'll put that off. But when I do have to do it and I get into it, it's like, okay,
He
I
thoroughly
can
enjoys
do this.
filing those, guys.
I thoroughly enjoy procrastinating.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Weston, it was very nice having you on. You are absolutely hilarious. And it seems as if you probably should go tend to your garden before they burn alive.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we should know about you before we go?
No, except there are always events going on and lots of music going on. But behind the music, yes, I've got other
He's
sides
normal.
to me as well.
He's normal. That's what he's saying. Weston, it was nice to see you again.
Likewise. Thank you,
All
Kylie.